People think investing will make you rich because of compound interest. Invest 200 euros a month at 10% a year for 40 years and you're a millionaire. Based on my 19 years of professional investment experience, both on Wall Street and here in Europe, that doesn't really work in practice. But investing can make you rich through a different, powerful mechanism that many people don't understand. And to explain it, let's first explore the math of compound interest. Just take a look at this simple investment calculator. Let's say you invest for 40 years, you invest 200 euros a month, and you earn like 10% per year on average. Well, in 40 years, you really will have 1.1 million euros, so that's great. But there are at least 4 problems with these numbers. To illustrate the first problem, let me admit an embarrassing truth. I'm a professional investor. Today, I teach beginning investors for a living, but I didn't start investing my own money seriously until the age of 30 when my son was born. In my 20s, I was much more interested in traveling and meeting girls and enjoying life than saving and investing. And I don't think I'm a big exception. Among my students, almost nobody is under the age of 30. Many people start at the age of 40 or 50. So let's go back to our calculator. Let's say you don't have 40 years for investing. Let's say you invest for 20 years, but nothing else changes. Well, instead of 1.1 million, you would end up with 144,000. And that's still a significant amount, but it won't make you rich. Now, I discovered the second problem with compound interest soon after my son was born. I had just gotten into saving and investing in a serious way when my wife told me we had some big spending to do. Not just diapers and a baby carriage, we needed to move to a bigger apartment and we needed a car. This compound interest math assumes that you will put money away and never touch it. But in reality, you will take money out from time to time. And that is completely fine. I mean, we save and invest so that we can spend in the future. And in practice, that looks like a new car or a fixed roof or a vacation. But every time that you take money out, you interrupt the compounding. Now, the third problem with compound interest can sometimes be avoided by investing in pension funds. But in most European countries, when you earn a profit from investing, you will pay anywhere between 10% and 50% in taxes. So that's going to cut your million euros down to size. And then there's a fourth problem, which is a real wealth destroyer. Today, a pint of beer in the UK costs £5 on average. 40 years ago, it cost 82 pence. The average house cost £29,000 in 1986 compared to 260,000 today. Inflation means money loses value over time. And the reality is that if you started investing 4 decades ago and became a millionaire today, your money will buy you much less than back when you started. Now, don't get me wrong. If you invest 200 euros or pounds or francs every month for 40 years, that's a tremendous achievement. Great job. I mean, it's going to make your life so much better. But for most people, compound interest alone is not enough to make you rich. Once you realize this, it is tempting to say, well, why bother? Just give up on investing altogether. But that would be a huge mistake. Well, first, because growing your savings through compound interest is much better than leaving them to lose value in your bank account. And second, because there is a little-known secondary benefit to investing, which really can make you wealthy. And this secondary benefit has less to do with numbers and more to do with mindset. To explain it, let me take you back 5 years to when I taught a personal finance seminar at a big Latvian company. During the break, I was sitting in the bathroom scrolling on my phone, as you do, when I heard some people come in. One of them said, "That Tom guy, he's a real penny pincher, isn't he?" I found it quite amusing because, people think that saving money makes you miserable. They think it means sacrificing enjoyment today for an uncertain benefit in the future. Saving and investing actually gets you a big benefit immediately, today. And this benefit is a clear vision of the future. Suddenly, you have a plan for how to escape the rat race, where people live paycheck to paycheck until age 65 and then get a small government pension. As an investor, when you go to work in the morning, it's not just to survive until 5 p.m. or until the weekend. You go to work in order to build a better future for yourself and your family. And in my experience, that doesn't just make work a lot more enjoyable and meaningful, it also makes it a lot more profitable. You see, people always tell me that they will start investing once they have a higher income. But in my experience, that's exactly backwards. My income increased dramatically after my son was born and I started investing. Something clicked in my head. It was a real light bulb moment. I never cared too much about eating at fancy restaurants or traveling in business class, so it was hard to find the motivation to work super hard and make a lot of money. But I realized I did care a lot about financial freedom for my new family, and that drove me to take massive action. Now, here are just a few steps that I took to accelerate my wealth. And before I explain them, let me be clear, this is not a magic formula. It doesn't work instantly. It's not always smooth sailing, but these 3 steps have worked both for me and for many professionals that I've coached over the years. First, don't accept your current income level as the best you can do. Unless you have spent many months and dozens of conversations trying to get more, you don't know your true market value. You could be way underpriced. So talk to everybody in your network and take the time to look for better opportunities. All it takes is one job offer to potentially grow your monthly income by hundreds or even thousands of euros. Second, look for results-based pay. Here in Europe, fixed salaries are typically quite low, but if you can get a results-based job like a sales or business development position, well, on the one hand, it's risky because if you don't perform, you don't get paid, which is why most people don't like those jobs. But on the other hand, if you're motivated and good at your job, and if you work hard, the sky is the limit. I personally know 25-year-olds making 5,000 euros per month and more. And third, learn to negotiate. Read Jim Camp's Start with No or Chris Voss's Never Split the Difference. A simple conversation with your boss, which adds 10% to your salary, can actually double how much you can invest every month. These 3 steps are the blueprint I followed to become the CEO of a startup investment company 10 years ago, and it transformed my family's finances. But you don't have to become a startup CEO for this process to make a big difference for your wealth. Even a few €100 extra every month can make a big impact. Because here is the uncomfortable truth that people usually don't talk about in the investment industry. The single biggest factor for your investment success is not your strategy. It's not which stock or fund you pick. It is how much you invest. Let's go back to our calculator. So if you invest €200 a month for 20 years, and you get 10% per year, you will end up with 144,000. Now, if you increase the amount that you invest every year with inflation, so maybe that's 3% per year, you end up with 177,000. But if you made a big push to get a better job, maybe you could invest €500 a month instead of 200. So that would increase the outcome to 440,000. And if you're ambitious and push hard and your career grows faster, maybe you can increase the amount that you invest by 5% every year. And that means you would end up with 500,000. Now, those might seem like big numbers, and they are, but they are achievable. I've seen that many times. If you can push a little more and you find a way to put aside €1,000 a month, in 20 years you get to your first million. So this is why compound interest alone is not enough to make you rich. But the motivation that investing gives you absolutely can be. Put aside €50 a month or 100 or whatever you can afford today. Get going on the investing journey and let it motivate you to do more. In the worst case, good old compound interest will make you financially comfortable. Maybe not rich, but much better off than if you didn't invest at all. But in the best case, investing will change your entire relationship with money. And that can indeed make you wealthy over time. Now, once you decide to start investing, you will of course have many other questions like which investments should I choose? And what about the risks? And when is the right moment to get started? Well, to find out the answers, watch this video next, where I walk you through the best way to begin investing if you live in Europe.